Howdy, howdy, back at it again. Today's video is going to be a bit of a matchup guide against Ed for Marisa versus Ed, requested by one of my channel members over on the Discord. If you like this type of content, if you want to see more of it, leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow it, and I'd really appreciate the support. Without further ado, let's get into the video. I want to start by looking at the target combo sequence from Ed, where he cancels into Fireball. So the first thing I want to mention is there is a gap between the hits of the Fireball. We can Gladius in between it, and we can cancel that into level 3 and deal like 55%. So yes, he can go empty and then try to like go low or throw you, but he's also going to be -5 pretty close to you if he does decide not to follow it up. Not quite in command grab range, but he's sort of mixing himself up if you don't do the Gladius and he does this, right? You can hit medium punch or stand jab or something like that, and he doesn't have a ton of options, although you can't punish him, which is a little unfortunate. However, I don't just want to talk about how you can Gladius in between it. I also want to show what happens if they don't do it point blank, which is you can walk back out of it. Now, you might think, well, no, I just have to eat this, right? Because if I mash like medium punch here or something, I get counter hit. Or heavy punch, I get counter hit. Well, not everything expands your hitbox the same way, and if we do a slightly delayed crouch medium punch, right, if we do it too fast, it'll trade. And reminder, he is doing the follow-up here. But if you just do a slightly delayed crouch medium punch, you can hit him, right? Which means you could like drive rush cancel it into combo. Or if you're near the corner, you could even do OD quad, right, if you really wanted to make them hurt. But I actually want to talk about combining this idea of walking out and doing a delayed crouch medium punch with doing Gladius in the gap. So there is going to be a timing where you can actually option select this input, where if you walk out, and I'm doing it poorly because I'm talking, where if you walk out, you'll get the whiff punish, and if you don't, you'll get the heavy Gladius in between. So like that, and then if I'm more at the edge of it, I get crouch medium punch into heavy Gladius, right? And that is one timing, so you don't even have to be like, oh, I'm reacting to the whiff. Okay, now you can show this at some spacings. If you know this is going to whiff, you can just kind of mash heavy kick. You can just like hold back and mash heavy kick, and you can get a very big whiff punish from, you know, almost anywhere on screen. So, you know, if it'll win you the round, maybe think about doing that. But I just wanted to introduce that as an option because I was watching some sets to prepare for this, and what I noticed is a lot of Eds were getting away with doing that right in people's faces, and I'm talking like 17, 50, and up Marisa players, so not like, you know, slouches, people that are pretty good at the game. And Ed was just whiffing that Fireball, doing the target combo and whiffing the Fireball, and kind of getting pressure off of it when he should have been eating a fat whiff punish. It's actually the case that a lot of his cancels are weak to Gladius, so crouch light kick into light flicker can be Gladius through. Stand medium kick into light flicker has to be OD Gladius through, but it's still susceptible to it. And crouch heavy kick into light flicker similarly has to be OD Gladius through, but it does give you an option to maybe force him to not go so crazy with his offense. Another thing to be aware of in this matchup is Ed's stand medium kick target combo. So this thing is -6 on block if he does both hits. From up close, we can get a really good punish with like crouch jab back heavy punch. Well, from farther away, that doesn't work. We still can from most ranges, not the absolute max range, but for most ranges, we can still get a stand light kick into light Dema. So like I said, it doesn't work for max range, but it does work from pretty far away. Another defensive situation that I would like to look at is this post-throw situation where Ed players love to do light fireball. So this is good for him. If you back recover and you like hold up forward right away, you're going to get hit by the fireball. If you don't jump, you know, he can drive rush behind this and approach. He can also throw heavy fireball just to screw with your timing. But a lot of Eds really like this light fireball, right? How do we deal with this? What do we do? Well, one thing we can do, and it's not 1,000,000% guaranteed, right? But if we don't back recover, you can do like a little bit of a delayed forward jump. Just you're like, oh, and then forward jump. And I'm actually cheating here a little bit. I'm kind of walking forward a little on wake up, and then I'm jumping forward, and I'm hitting jump medium kick, right? To sort of hit him. Now, the response that some Eds like to do here then is do drive rush into light DP. But if you time this correctly, you'll either hit their drive rush, right? And then you can like link out of that. Or if you do it a little bit later, you maybe will even hit it to the point where you sort of safe jump the DP. Like there I'll get DP'd because I did it too late. So what I do is I just sort of wait for that first part of the fireball to resolve, and then I jump, and then you can get a combo, right? So obviously there is counterplay to this, right? Like if they just do the first part of the fireball, they can then anti-air you with a DP or with a stand heavy kick or whatever. But my point in talking about this is really just to say, hey, there isn't like, oh man, I just have to take this offense. He threw me and now I have to eat the fireball drive rush mix. If they're getting predictable, you do have options, and this is one where it results in you landing a jump in, and Marisa's combo damage from a jump in is, you know, just a little bit high. So it can make them kind of think twice, and your, I guess, threat of doing 60% at any given second will maybe make them just throw you and not try to risk taking Oki afterwards. The last thing I want to talk about before we look at neutral against Ed is at least one character-specific offensive sequence. So we go heavy Dima, light Quadriga. Okay? Normally that's not a combo I would really recommend. It doesn't do as much damage as like charged heavy punches or drive rush extensions or anything like that. But against Ed, this actually sets up a safe jump. So if we do jump into jump medium kick, notice his light DP is whiffing, and we can punish it. We can block his OD DP in time. We beat normals. And we also avoid his super. And he just blocks. Look at that. We also hit him. So that is a safe jump against Ed. Use it to your heart's content. Just thought that's pretty cool. The way that I want to examine the neutral in Marisa versus Ed is rather than just showing it in training mode, I just want to watch a match between two high-level players. So this is Goldbanks, who's one of the best, if not the best Marisa NA, versus Shine. And what I want to kind of just pay attention to is what's the strategy that Goldbanks is using in neutral, right? How is he going to approach this matchup? Is he going to try to be like, oh, Ed can zone me out, so I got to go and get in? Or how is he going to approach that? And what I think you'll see is, okay, he gets hit there and he does drive rush, crouch light kick, but he hasn't really pushed a lot of buttons. Okay, there's medium kick Quadriga, and I think that's probably to catch flicker or the start of a fireball or kill rush back or anything like that. I'd say that's more of a defensive move, that Gladius. Okay, we're still not playing neutral. What do we do now? Okay, drive rush again on hit. This time Shine's ready for it. But how are we doing in neutral? Notice it's a lot of micro, just walk forward a little bit, down back. Throw out Quadriga there just to kind of convince him maybe flicker's a bad idea. But it's a lot of just kind of, when he's in this round start spacing, right? Anytime they're at full screen, he just kind of takes a couple steps forward, down backs for a little bit. And he's not too worried about it, right? I want you to pay attention to how little drive chip this does. Okay, it's like half a bar, not even half a bar. Okay, and there he's like, you know what? Now I'm going to take my moment, and I'm going to jump. That's kind of what you're going to see him do in neutral here, is he'll do a lot of very patient kind of step forward, and block, step forward and block. And then he'll just mix in like a quadriga or a forward jump, just in case Ed does throw a flicker, he can get a big punish. See, look at that. I mean, that's like 3 seconds. He just sits here. Oh. And then we jump. We still haven't poked. Okay? And that's more of an offensive situation. So like in neutral here, he didn't really poke. He just sort of walked and waited, and then he jumped. Right? Okay, now we make a defensive read, whatever. Now we're back in neutral. What are we doing? Back up. Block. All right, now we mix in the jump. And we get a command grab at the end. But you notice he's really, really playing patient in neutral. Right? He's really playing very patient in neutral. He's not feeling like he has to force his way in, right? People often are like, how do I get in on Ed, right? I feel like I just get zoned out. And the answer, as uncomfortable as it is to hear, is stop feeling like you have to force your way in, right? Shut that part of your brain off. Take your right hand off the controller. Just play, just play with your left hand. Just use the buttons, just move. Just move. You don't need to push buttons all the time, right? You don't need to drive rush. You don't need to attack. Right? He still hasn't poked. Okay, there's a jump. No grounded option so far. Okay, and there's one, and it gets him killed. Right? Now, obviously, sometimes you have to make decisions. I just want to show this off, by the way. Just because I was talking about this. Right? That's why I say that's a good option. Because it catches Eds that... It kind of catches their default thing they like to do. Right, where it's like, okay, fireball, drive rush. And it sort of can shut that down. Just to show that off briefly. But notice again, what's he do after he blocks this out? What's Goldbang's do? Does he push the advantage? Does he drive rush in to try to spend, and get in there? Nope, he backdashes. Back to full screen. Let's get the drive gauge back. Back up. Are we still throwing? Are we throwing any buttons here? Nope, not throwing any buttons. We're just playing patient. He's at a life deficit, but he's got 70 seconds. Now we're in the face. Now we can play offense. Okay, back to neutral. Is he poking? Doesn't look like he's poking. All right, and those are even empty jumps to bait the DP. Right? Okay, take the throw. Get thrown again. Eh. But again, notice, we're not rushing. We got 40 seconds left. Marisa needs one hit. And jump goes over his head. This actually doesn't kill. But you'll notice that's really what's going on here, Ed. He's not pushing. He's not forcing the issue, right? He's being content to just sort of play how he knows he needs to. He's got plenty of time, right? Now, even again, here he's got a pixel. Is he forcing his way in? No. But now he gets a feeling that maybe Shine's gonna fall into this habit of, oh, I'm going to try to bait a super, because that's what Shine's doing, by the way. Shine's trying to catch like a buffered, level 3. He's trying to bait that. He knows we're going to hold down back, because if you jump, you die. Boom. Okay. So, patience, right? Just patience. I know it's unpopular, it's not fun. You want there to be like a, this is the thing that you do, and it'll melt Ed's brain. It's not how the game works, right? Against people like this, against a character like this who has such good tools at that 3/4 screen range, you just need to be content to take a couple steps forward and block. Take a couple steps forward and block. And every once in a while, you throw out a jump or a quadriga or even a Superman punch to catch them doing one of these committal things, so then you can force your way in and you can kind of press your advantage. But in neutral, it's not like drive rush fierce, drive rush medium punch. It's just walk and block, walk and block, walk and block, right? Hopefully this is helpful. As always, Have a good time.